So in the last class, what we did was the gap junctions, the tight junctions, and the desmosomes. This is a very rough comparison for your exam purpose about the various categories of the junctions. As you can see, we have studied that gap junctions have channels or pores. Tight junctions occur, they actually seal the gaps between two adjacent membranes, and desmosomes are button-like electrodense region. In case of gap junctions, tonofibrils are absent. Now, what are tonofibrils? These are nothing but cytoplasmic protein structures in epithelial tissue that converge in the desmosome or the hemidesmosome areas. So, if you remember the blue rods, so those are actually tonofibrils. In case of gap junctions and tight junctions, tonofibrils are missing, but tonofibrils are present in case of desmosomes. Then, in case of gap junctions, there is a narrow channel of around 1.4 to 2 nanometer. It's written 5 nanometer. It varies from book to book. So you people write it's 1.4 to 2 nanometer. Any intercellular space between tight junction is missing. Desmosomes have an intercellular space of 30 to 35 nanometer. And gap junctions provide electrical communications. I gave the example of both brain and heart. Tight junctions are complete barriers. It doesn't allow anything to pass between them. Desmosomes, they hold cells together. So this is the basic comparison between the three categories of junction we did today. Next, we are moving to the function of plasma membrane. Now, considering the importance of plasma membrane, the function of plasma membrane is huge. But since your syllabus only has asked to move around very few areas, so I will be restricting my class to the active and the passive transport of plasma membrane, the facilitated transport of the plasma membrane. So even though it has a huge variety of functions, there are some slides which will give you an overview of the total variety of functions that plasma membrane do. But we will, for our syllabus, restrict ourselves to, as I said, to the active and passive transport and the facilitated diffusion. To start with, since as you can assume that plasma membrane acts as cell, one which circles a cell. So plasma membrane are actually the membranes which are bordering a cell. So any molecule that has to enter the cytoplasm always has to cross the plasma membrane. Now, depending on the nature of the molecule, there are different channels and there are different mechanisms by which the molecule might enter. If we look into this picture, we can broadly classify the molecules into four basic categories. Hydrophobic molecules. These molecules have the advantage of moving through the lipid bilayer because we know that the lipid layer within is hydrophobic in nature. It includes oxygen, carbon dioxide, nitrogen, and steroid hormones. Next, small uncharged polar molecules. That is, molecules which move through the membrane. They are uncharged in nature, but they cannot pass through the lipid bilayer as such because they are hydrophilic in nature. So either they have to move through ion channels or they have to move through receptor mediated mechanisms. So this category includes water, urea, glycerol, ammonia. Next, large uncharged polar molecules. That includes glucose and sucrose. However, glucose can also move very easily through the membrane, but it has a transporter. And then comes ions. Ions move through the membrane via the ion channels. So these are the basic four categories of molecules that are observed to move through the membrane. Now, this is a very rough scheme about the various kinds of transport that occur through the membrane. One of the basic function of the plasma membrane is to transport molecules. The molecules can be small, the molecules can be large. For larger molecules or the larger particles, the two basic phenomena of transport is exocytosis and endocytosis. But for small molecules, The mechanism of transport can be basically two types: passive, active. The word passive is used when the molecules move along their concentration gradient. That is, they move from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration without the use of any form of energy. But active transport usually involves molecules which move from a region of lower concentration to a region of higher concentration with the involvement of energy. So this is a ATP driven process. You need to have energy to move molecules from a region of lower concentration to a region of higher concentration. Okay. Now coming to passive transport, the main mechanism of passive transport is diffusion. So that is diffusion. Via the process of diffusion, molecules can move from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration. But diffusion can be also of two categories. One is the simple diffusion and the other is a facilitated diffusion. The basic difference between the two is that in case of simple diffusion, the solid molecules move from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration. Osmosis is the movement of solvent molecules from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration. But these molecules can directly move through the cell membrane. In case of facilitated diffusion, it is also the movement of molecules, be it solute or solvent, from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration, but the movement takes through the process of movement takes place through channels present on the membrane. So the word facilitated is used. So the diffusing molecules are facilitated either by channels, either by ionophores, so that these channels or the ionophores helps the molecules to move from the outer surface to the inner surface. So these is a very rough scheme about the various kinds of transports. This is a much more simplified scheme. So it talks about almost the same things which I have discussed. However, in case of active transport, a little elaboration has been done. Pumps may be involved, as in case of the transport of neuronal stimuli, you have the sodium potassium pumps, and there may be vesicles, that is membrane bound bodies may enclose or engulf particulate matter. So the active transport can be broadly further classified this, but we will restrict ourselves to simple active transport for your syllabus. Here is another way of the explanation. However, one thing that I didn't explain in the earlier two slides is that signal transmission is also an important function of plasma membrane. However, it does not fall under the category of transport of plasma membrane. In case of signal transduction, since there are cell surface receptors for particular signaling molecules, so the receptors actually play a role in transporting the signals from the extracellular surface to the cytoplasmic phase. However, as in case of certain steroid hormones, the molecules directly themselves diffuse through the bilayer into the cytoplasm. Before going into the diffusion part, I'd like to give you a very rough concept about three categories of solution. One is the isotonic solution, the other hypertonic, and third, the hypotonic. Isotonic solution is a solution where the concentration, this is a cell, and the cell is placed around in a solution, okay? Now, if we say that the cell is in isotonic solution, we have to assume that the solute concentration of within the interior of the cell is same as that of the exterior of the cell. So, if the interior of the cell has 20% if the interior of the cell has 20% of solute concentration and 80% of water, then the exterior of the cell also has 20% solute concentration and 80% of water. Next, if I look into the middle picture, as you can see, this is labeled as hypertonic solution, hyper. So we have to assume that the solute concentration is much more in the outside solution as compared to the interior of the cell. So the solute concentration is higher, as a result of which solvent molecules, so this is osmosis, solvent molecules are moving out from the cell to the surrounding exterior. Okay, so this is a hypertonic solution. So you should remember the term is relative. When we think of tonicity, the tonicity term is relative. It is the concentration of the surrounding relative to the concentration present within the cytoplasm. Okay, so that's a relative term. When we say that the solution is being placed in a hypotonic, then we have to assume that the solute concentration of the surrounding is much lower than that of the interior of the cell. Here also, the solvent particles through osmosis will move from a region of higher concentration, that is outside of the cell, to the region of lower concentration, that is the interior of the cell. So if we continuously allow water to infiltrate in, that will ultimately result in lysis of the cell. So these are the three basic tonicity of solutions that are normally observed. And now coming to a very brief summary about the various functions. So I said that as per your syllabus, we'll be doing diffusion. Under diffusion, we'll be doing simple diffusion and facilitated diffusion, and we'll be doing the active transport. Now let's concentrate. This picture is from Lehninger. So as you can see, simple diffusion. So a molecule from a region of higher concentration is simply diffusing in to the interior of the cell. Okay, so this is simple diffusion. A molecule is moving from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration. Facilitated diffusion. Again, the molecule is moving from a higher concentration to a lower concentration, but as you can see, the molecule is now moving through a channel. So the channel is facilitating the movement of molecule from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration. Coming to the third category, active transport. Now, active transport, here actually both the categories of active transport has been shown, and I'll explain both of them. In case of active transport, the first property is that the molecule moves along the electrochemical gradient, okay, or along the concentration gradient. That is, it is moving from a region of lower concentration to a region of higher concentration. Since the molecule is being pushed from a lower concentration to a higher concentration, and it is moving against the concentration gradient, energy is required. So for the movement of molecule from outside to inside, as you can see, ATP is broken with the liberation of a phosphate to provide the energy for the passing of this molecule from outside to inside. This is active transport. Now, what is so this is active transport, and this falls under the primary active transport. Then what is secondary active transport? Secondary active transport is that when a molecule is moving down the electrochemical gradient. Suppose, let us say this is an ion. The ion has a higher concentration on the outside and a lower concentration on the inside, okay? So for this ion, it is simple diffusion. It's a facilitated diffusion. The ion is moving from a higher concentration to a lower concentration. Because of the process of movement of the ion from a higher to a lower concentration, a solute is being attached to move from the lower concentration to a higher concentration. So the movement of ion along the electrochemical gradient is actually favoring the movement of the solute simultaneously against the electrochemical gradient. So this is a simultaneous reaction in case of passive active, I mean to say secondary active transport. It doesn't happen alone. The movement of one molecule down its gradient actually facilitates the movement of another molecule against its gradient. So this is a picture of car where you can see the diffusion has been shown. So this is simple diffusion, this is facilitated diffusion. And this is active transport, as you can see. Yeah, this is one form of active transport where the ATP is broken. And this is another form of active transport where the movement of one ion is facilitating the movement of another ion along with the breakdown of ATP. So these are the four basics, as I said: diffusion, simple, facilitated, active transport, primary and secondary. So as per your syllabus, these are the only four transports that we will concentrate, and we will deal with the examples in the next day's class. But apart from that, I'd like to highlight two more channels just to give you an idea. That is, plasma membrane are also I'm to say have also frequent amount of ion channels. Ion channels helps the movement of ions usually down the electrochemical gradient. So this is a diffusion basically, but since ions are charged molecules and the plasma membrane is a lipid bilayer, the charged molecules cannot pass through the lipid bilayer, and hence they use ion channels to pass through. So ions also move by diffusion, but it is a form of facilitated diffusion where the ions particularly prefer their movement through the ion channels. And there's another category of transfer of ions across the plasma membrane that is done by ionophore. So ionophore are basically molecules which have a hydrophobic part on the outer surface. So these ionophores can bind with ions. The ion sits in the interior of the pocket and the hydrophobic covering sits on the outside. So the ionophores do not have any problem in traveling through the plasma membrane. And once they reach the cytoplasmic surface, the ions are liberated from the ionophores. So this picture is basically from Leninger, and this picture in a very beautiful manner actually summarizes the 6 basic categories of transport that occurs through a membrane. So for today's class, I'll be concluding here. Next day, we'll just do a bit more extensive discussion on the 4 categories of transport. And apart from that, you go through your doubts, and if you have any doubts, we'll take up those, go through the areas which I taught today, and we'll take up the doubts also the next